All right, so this is the next upgrade for the car. It is a carbon fiber rear spoiler. For anyone who is not familiar with the C-Class, this is the Renntech style spoiler. So it's like a pedestal spoiler. It is raised in the center and the side blades are actually raised off the sides of the trunk. You can see the mounting feet there. So the center part contacts the trunk, and then these side areas here kind of rise over the rear quarter panels. So a little bit of backstory, this is actually the second spoiler that I've purchased. The first one I got from Extreme Online Store, which is the same company that does the carbon fiber front splitter on my car. So I ordered the Renntech style spoiler from them, and I was really disappointed with it. The carbon fiber on the edges was unfinished and just looked rough, and one of the corners was, I don't think it was shipping damage, but it had some white discoloration on the top of the carbon fiber, which was not something that I could fix. It was kind of under the clear coat. They were absolutely awesome to deal with for returns. They just gave me a prepaid shipping label and were very quick with giving me a refund. So definitely really good customer service with Extreme Online Store. I may have just got a bad spoiler, but I just didn't want to fit something onto the car that I wasn't 100% happy with. And in the time that I was dealing with the return, I actually found this spoiler on Amazon for a significant chunk cheaper than the Extreme Online spoiler. So this one was about $190, and the Extreme Online one is about $240. So about $50 to $60 worth of savings on this one, and the reviews on it were 5-star. So I thought, well, if people have bought this and it's well reviewed, I'm willing to take a chance on it, because Amazon also had free returns. And I've been pleasantly surprised with my initial unboxing. As you can see, the carbon fiber weave looks to be nice and straight. Even though it has curvature here, you can see that the weave pattern is not distorted at all. The gloss looks to be really, really good. And it doesn't look to be overly wavy either. Oftentimes with cheap carbon, you'll see that it'll just look really wavy when you look down it in the sunlight, but this looks pretty good. Certainly one of the better ones that I've seen. And all of the edges look to be finished down nicely. There's no rough, kind of non-clear coated areas. It looks to be really good. If we carefully flip this over with one hand, as you can see, it's pre-applied with 3M tape. Although my game plan is to use a hairdryer to warm this up. I'll peel off this 3M tape and I will replace it with some 3M high adhesive stuff, because I don't want any chance of this coming unstuck in the future. So take me probably a good half an hour to peel this off and replace it, but I think that they will be worth it for the long run, because I just don't know what kind of quality this stuff is. It's stuck really good to the bottom of the spoiler. I did do a little test kind of pick at the corner and it doesn't want to budge, but it's probably been on here for a really long time, which is why it's stuck so good. How well this would stick to my trunk, I don't know. I did peel back the bottom backing here, the red covering, and it didn't feel overly tacky. I peeled back a good kind of like ½ an inch here and just felt it with my thumb, and it doesn't feel like it's the best. So I'm gonna peel this off, even if it's a bit of a pain in the butt. I'm gonna clean it all off, and then I'll put fresh 3M tape. And that's about the only thing that I'm gonna have to do before I can stick it on. I did sit this on the car for a test fit, and it looks to be really, really good. It's nice and tight against the trunk along all of the edges. So initial impressions are this is going to work perfectly. I'll show you guys the test fit, because I'm going to redo it shortly once I replace the 3M tape. So I'll get back with you once that has been done. So you might laugh, but this is where I've got it set up just to take the 3M tape off. I wanted absolutely no chance of scratching it, so I've just put it on a bed. I'm going to use a hairdryer to heat it up and gradually peel it off. I just didn't want to risk accidentally having a mess up on the garage floor and having a corner or something get scratched. So I figured the safest place is to do it on a bed. So hopefully this comes off relatively easily. I did start on this edge here. It looks like it's starting to come up. So hopefully it doesn't leave too much residue once I'm finished. So after about an hour of using a hairdryer and just my fingernail, I was able to peel off the original double-sided tape. It did leave quite a bit of residue. I was hoping it would come off a little bit cleaner than that when using some heat, but I think that had been stuck on there for quite a while. So that's what I'm left with. I think Goo-Gone is going to get rid of the residual adhesive that's left, and then I'll be able to put my 3M on the surface with just a little bit of an alcohol prep wipe before I stick it, and it should be just as good as it was originally, stuck. Should stick just fine to this once it's cleaned up. So yeah, that's the next step, just to clean that completely down, and I'll show you once I have the new tape installed. So it's the next morning, and I had the carbon fiber spoiler curing, so to speak, overnight, just to allow the 3M tape to really set up on the spoiler. And that way, once I stick it on, it's just going to be basically curing to the clear coat on the trunk rather than trying to cure to both surfaces at the same time. I figured might as well put the tape on last night so the spoiler is 100% ready to install. As you can see, I removed the very small factory lip spoiler. Basically only comes about an inch and hardly even rises whatsoever. So this is the wingless look for the car. Definitely not a bad look. Looks kind of nice actually without the spoiler on it. But at the same time, it also looks quite naked. It definitely needs something to give the back end a little bit of character. So basically, I removed the factory spoiler. I completely polished the whole trunk. I just did a basic one-step correction. Just did a correcting pad, like a microfiber correcting pad. And then I went over it with a finishing pad. Just used 3D1 correcting compound. So just got any of the little swirls out before I went ahead and stuck a spoiler on there, because especially these areas, they're going to be left exposed because of the way the blades rise and stick out to the sides. So all that's really needed is a basic wipe with the alcohol, and it will stick really good to the paint. So next step is going to be to set up or mock up the new spoiler, and then I have masking tape, and I'm going to measure and stick little markers exactly where the pedestal feet go, and I'll measure the distance on the sides so I get it 100% in the center, and that way when I do stick it, I'll make sure it's bullseye right in the middle. So let's get the spoiler and sit it on the car. So actually, before we do a test fit, I wanted to show you guys the alternate spoiler that I had ordered. So I ordered 2 spoilers in case I didn't like the look of the Renntech style spoiler on the car. So this one is called the A style. It's a little bit bigger than the factory spoiler. It just sticks out, maybe about double the width. Has a nice profile to it, very subtle. Fitment looks to be good. It's nice and tight on the edges. And it looks good. It's just very subtle. I think it's nice if you want to have something that's close to factory. But especially with this car being dark blue, the black is, it just doesn't stand out. Like when my car was white and I had the black lip spoiler, it looked nice because it had such a contrast to it. But with the black, it blends in and it's very subtle. I just want something with more presence than that. To me, that just looks a bit too soft. So I like it, but I don't think this is the one I'm going to keep. But wanted to show you guys in case anybody else is looking at a spoiler for their C-Class. This is what the A-style spoiler looks like. So yeah, let's go to test fit the Renntech spoiler. Okay, so I'm following the body line on the trunk. You can kind of see it in the sunlight. It has an edge. So I'm just going along the edge exactly to the edge of the trunk line there. And it is 9.5 inches to the very edge of the carbon spoiler. On this side, I'll try and do this with one hand. If we come over to this side real quick, and we just secure that there so it's right on the edge. Follow it around to the edge of the trunk, and again it is 9.5 inches exactly to the edge of the trunk body line there. So it's exactly in the middle. And what I'm going to do is just mark the sides here now and the depth, because it looks like it only wants to sit in one position because the pedestal feet are curved to follow the body line. So I'm going to be able to just mark the side, basically the position here and the position across there, and I'll know it's exactly in the right spot. So that's the center point figured out, ready to stick. Just going to get my alcohol, wipe the trunk down, and then I'll be good to peel the backing tape off. And then the easy part, just sticking it down. All right, so I just sat it down. As you can see, I got the corners all the way to the exact spot of where they're supposed to be. And now I can just grab a hold of these tapes that I've secured the edges of the backing and just pull them out, use a microfiber and gradually press it down. You can see I got the one on the back here, the two on the front, and we should be good. So I'm not going to do it with one hand, but I'll do it in a moment and we should be all done. All right, so it's the next day. The sun is out. Let's take a look at the finished product. Boom. How good does that look? You can see with the sun shining, the blue color of this paint really pops. In the garage it looks almost black, but there is a lot of royal blue metallic flake that comes out when the sun is on it. If we get in close, you take a look at the quality of this new spoiler. The carbon weave is nice and uniform the whole way across. And if we look at the fitment, it is nice and tight the whole way across the trunk. There is no unsightly 3M tape poking through. If we go to the sides here, you can see the mounting feet follow the body lines perfectly. So I'm definitely going to give this spoiler a 5 out of 5. It has surpassed my expectations as far as cost and overall product quality. I don't really think you can do any better than that. This car is crying for a paint correction. I'm not sure if you can see a little bit here in the sunlight. Definitely needs a really nice buff and a ceramic coating to make this even glossier. And I'm going to be doing that this winter. It has a pretty aggressive diffuser from the factory. I mean, with those fins in the middle and the 4 exhaust tips, I think this rear spoiler is just about enough. It's not too aggressive. I think it's enough to give the car a lot of presence from the back, without it being too much. If we come around to the side and you can see the profile here, it definitely projects more outward than it does upward. I would say probably about 6 inches is the total width there. And if you look from the side of the car, it's quite slim. You know, these are quite sharp looking blades to the side, so it is quite elegant looking from the side profile. I think the coupe body style in general definitely lends itself really well to having a ducktail kind of spoiler, because it just accentuates the top of the trunk. And the blue hardware on the BC forged two-piece wheels is popping in the sunlight. Really complements the colour of the body of the car with that little bit of colour on the wheels. And then anyone who hasn't seen any of the previous videos on this car, I have already been adding carbon fibre at the front. We have these aggressive functional side vents here. You can see it goes all the way through. I added these carbon fibre pieces there. We have this large carbon front splitter. Come in close. That's also a really nice piece. I got that from Extreme Online Store. And of course we have the GTR style grille. So the front of the car has some carbon. The trunk is now looking really beautiful with a carbon fibre Renntech style spoiler. I do have more carbon fibre parts planned. I'm just trying to be very patient with picking the parts that I want to add to the car, so I don't have to redo anything in case I don't like it in the coming, you know, in the coming few months. I definitely have been guilty of that in the past, of buying 2 or 3 different variations of the same part before I find the one that I really like. So I'm trying not to do that this time around. I'm just trying to be one and done with all of the parts that I buy. In the last video, you'll know that we added these absolutely stunning AMG Performance bucket seats. These completely changed the look of the interior. I got super lucky. I grabbed these off Facebook Marketplace. They were actually from a GLC Coupe, which is the 4-door crossover, and I was able to make them work for my C43. So if you haven't seen that video, definitely go check it out. That's a really sweet upgrade that I just did. So overall, I mean, this is looking like a C43 on steroids at this point. The front is looking nice and tough. The back is looking much improved with the new Renntech carbon spoiler. I am so pleased with the end result of this little project, doing the upgrade here. Thank you to anybody who is a subscriber. You guys are absolutely awesome. I know that I haven't been that frequent with the uploads, but like I said, I really do try to take my time with choosing the parts that I put on the car. But I'm very pleased with this spoiler. I don't think I can top it. I think this is probably about as perfect as I could get for this car. So there we go. I'll be back with another video really soon. Hope you're all doing well. Holiday season is almost here, so I'm sure there'll be lots of companies running discounts. So I may be able to pick up some more parts for the car if there's anything that I like. So yeah, I'll be back really soon.